Hi there. Please excuse the setup. I don't know how many of you know, but I'm English, but I live in the US. But today I'm in the UK. I've got a gift for my best friend, and I didn't get a chance to take a video of it before I left. So I'm in my mum's bedroom, hanging the camera with shoelaces from a coat hanger hanging on the curtain rail. So let's hope you can just see. I'm just going to do a quick run through. I'm not going to explain everything. You already know how to do these things. Heck, you've all taught me a lot. I decided, because it was so chunky, as you can see, to just use a seam binding tie, which I've done, and it's coffee stained. I'll just take that off and out of the way. And then you can see from the front I've put a square of, we call it Hessian, I can't think what it's called, a wooden memories, a little garment tag with a metal heart. I got some lace from a good crafting friend, Barbara. She sent me some tea stained lace. I did add some more coffee staining. I don't know if you can see that. Then I put a layer of fabric, and it's a little off centre, off square, but I like that. I left it like that, and then I just made a little dress. It's got a little bit flattened, but it'll come up again when it gets out of the packing, because I've carried it in my carry-on case. I put some lace on the edge. I've done a hidden spine method, so I didn't cover the spine. This is fabric, by the way. I wanted fabric, and I'm sorry I didn't say that this journal has a sewing theme. When we were very young, well, not that young, but teenagers and a little bit more, we Julie and I used to go out together, and we would get together through the week and say what we're wearing Friday, and we would make our own outfits. So that's the reason why I've made a sewing theme for this album, because of that connection, and of course it's Julie that's going to receive the album. I just did wait a minute, I'm sorry, a paper on the back, and I've used the corners, you know, the metal corners. Again, please excuse if I go off camera or if I'm you know, babbling and all the rest. This is just my second journal. I covered the inside with paper, and that is oh, and I don't have anything here with me. You all know that's that one from Hobby Lobby. I attached the 3 signatures to Craft-X and made an edge, punched an edge, and then stuck that down there. And I mean, it's a bit tight. I'm not quite sure. You know, I've sewn it into the Craft-X, but I've just put too much in. You know, I can't start. So the digikit that I've used is a beautiful vintage sewing from Artie Mays, and she has an Etsy shop, and I'll post that connection down below, the link. And I've done some sewing throughout. It's a lovely kit, but I think it gets a bit lost. I've done coffee stained paper, and I've left a good bit blank for journaling, but I haven't put any lines on, because I think that if she doesn't want to journal, then the lines look odd. So she can stick memorabilia in where she wants to and put photographs in where she would want to. So I'll put some lace there. The kit has a little splashes of this colour every now and again. So I took that with the coloured lace, and I dyed that with spray. And I'm not going to tell you where I got the laces from, because I got them from all over the place. I got some from eBay, some from Hobby Lobby, some from Walmart, some from China. So they're from all over the place. I got a book that is all about sewing. It's from the 1960s, and I used it to photocopy a picture I got from Etsy onto it. There's another one on the other side, and then I coated this with a protectant, like a matte spray varnish, and that's held it, because I've just got a regular ink printer. And I got some like ledger paper that I've tea stained. I've put some fashion plates in, and of course this is quite an early one, from the turn of the century, early 1900s. I've got a belly band which was from the kit. This is from the kit too. I put the backing on. I've put a button as a stopper for the things in the belly band to come out, and I printed this off of Pinterest, and the envelope is from the kit, and then I just put a couple of little sewing themed cards in there that she can use. And then I have punched some of the edges, not all, and then I've also used the matching corner punch on some of the pages, again not all. I made a little envelope with a spool, die cut and scissors, and I got this off Pinterest, and it's like a tiny little pattern envelope. And this pocket here is from the kit, and I just put some flowered lace on there. This piece here is just ordinary paper, just ordinary lined paper, and I coffee stained that. And then this is a sheet from the kit. And then I took some pictures off of Pinterest. I did a little bit of stenciling. I don't know why that's gone like that. It's been up against something. This is from the kit. It's a large spool, and then I've got some design on some paper, and I just put that in. So I've made this pocket, and I've put some lace on. I made it from a book page, and it's actually excuse me, inspirational poetry, and there's some religious ones and some not, but I folded it so that there's a pocket there, and actually this is a two pocket, so there's actually a pocket there, a pocket there, a pocket there, and I've made it so that there's a pocket at the back too. I hope you can see that. And some of the tags and things that I've put in are basically there to show that she can put things in a pocket, or, you know, memorabilia or whatever she would want to do. I got this off Pinterest, some hats from the turn of the century. I made a pocket out of an envelope, and I coffee stained it and put some lace on there, and then I put a couple of little tags in there. Ledger paper, obviously. This is stiffener that you would use to stiffen like a collar if you were sewing a collar in, and I did coffee stain it. This is all the fashions through the ages from 1907 to 1973. Excuse my voice. Another pocket that I made, and I just trimmed that up. It's got cheesecloth and a little tag in with a boot that is from the kit. Then I copied this onto some ordinary craft paper, and then I inked that one. I didn't coffee stain that one. Another tuck spot, and I did some stitching on this, like a little sampler, and put a tag behind there. Here's a photocopy of an old sewing pattern, so now we're going to the 30s, and I coffee stained some regular designer paper, and then I printed that on the back so it makes it look older. And then again here I've made another pocket, and did I sew this one on? No, I sewn this one before I before I put it in. I stuck this one in because I made the extra pocket at the top, a pocket here and a pocket here. And this one wasn't tea stained, it was sprayed with Lindy's sprays. Then I put an envelope. Where's the other side of the envelope? I don't know where the other side. Oh, it must go the other way. I'm sorry. A doily and some more designer paper that I coffee stained. This is an envelope from the album, and I don't even know if I can get this out. This is I'm going to have to put this somewhere else. This is a photograph that I took a few years ago, 2010. Julie was celebrating her 25th wedding anniversary, and she came to visit us at Hilton Head Island. I can't get it in. And I took this picture. They weren't here at the time, but I took this picture and I thought, well, that's a nice piece of memorabilia she could keep. And then I've got some more of that composition paper, and I used wax cotton for the sewing in, and it was a little stiff, so I joined them together and punched out some hearts and stuck them together. It's more of the computer paper that I tea stained. Then here's the other side of the envelope, and I made a tag with my Cricut, and I cut some dress forms out and stuck that on, and that's the back of that. And then I've made just a little pocket out of a piece of coffee stained paper, and I've put a tag in there, and I've used these fibres throughout. And then I put another dress form there and a tape measure over the top of that one. Some more of that coffee stained designer paper, and I copied on there. I've made a little tuck spot with a doily that's from a Prima die, and I've just dressed that up a little bit. I used embossing powders for that and stuck that on. I've got a little bit of decorated net in there. And then this is the other side, obviously, of the tuck spot. In fact, I'm going to put that photograph in there and hide it. That might be a little surprise for her. And then on we go. Dress styles, the other side of the stuff you put in the collar. I got a printout that I put on paper, and it's fashion. And then I've printed on the back so she can journal on that. And this is the other side of that envelope, and I decorated it with some die cuts. And I've got different fashions throughout, and then I've used a regular clip to fold this down. It's a design that I can't remember what you call them, I'm sorry. And then I printed this. It's a needle guide. It's explaining about needles for sewing machines and when to use what and what the different parts are. But sadly I printed it one side upside down. So I'm sorry, Julie. So I just popped that in there, kind of hiding it. Oops. I can put that back later. And as I say, I did some stenciling, and then I sewn this one in, and it's just a bit of embossed cardstock, and I decorated it with a couple of things so she can tuck things in there, and she also tuck things in there. That's a thimble from the other side of the scissors picture, and I made a flag and some flowers and more of the fibres, and stuck a little scissor tag in. This is from the kit. I'm sorry, I'm stuttering and mumbling and going on. This is just a regular paper clip, and I just put a piece. This is from the kit also, and then it's coffee stained underneath, and she can do what she likes with that. And then I've made this a flip out, and I've got some sewing design that I printed on the back, and then here's a tag from the kit, and that the paper clip just holds that all that together. And I'll do that later too, because it's a long one. And then again, some prints. That's the other side of that sheet about from the sewing book. And then another pocket that I've made, and I'll show you this because this is from the kit. It's like a little needle case, and there would be normally needles in the fabric inside, but I didn't want to put that in and cause any problems, so that's like a little bit of memorabilia there. And these are all open, and I've made this one a little tuck spot and put another tag in there that I made. And that's that same paper there. Then I just decorated this page with a button, and this one's from the kit. That's the first signature. You can see there that through to the craft X. And then this is from the kit. I made another little pocket here that I've put through, and I edge punched that one. There's the back of the thing, because I made it from paper but then I decorated it. Coffee paper, and then another printout of an old sewing machine table. That's a treadle machine, an old one. I decorated a little pocket and put a dress form in that's from the kit. More designer paper that I coffee stained and then printed on. More of that stiffener. Another pocket that I made with a needle case in. Let me just move those. Put that in there, and then I got some photographs from Pinterest of about the 20s, 30s of ladies sewing, different pictures. And then this is also a pocket, and that's one that I folded, and then there's a pocket there also if you'd want to. And I inked these up, but I did spray paint those. They weren't coffee stained. Again, a coffee stained paper, and I printed on it. Another little layered dress form, that's from the kit. I made a library pocket with a library card, and I made the pocket out of a dictionary page, and then added a little bit of that sewing paper, and I made a belly band with lace and just put a flower on the bottom as a stopper with a butterfly. And then there's another tag that's sewing related, and that's on ledger paper. This is a corner pocket from the kit, and I made this little booklet. It's got another frame on the front, and I did sew this down. I did layer all that, but the little booklet has some coffee stained small designer sheets, and I just sewed it down the middle. So she's got some journaling, and if she doesn't want to journal in it, it's, you know, got some designer paper. But the paper looks like different fabrics, so that's why I used that one. This one's like a sewing one. A doily, more paper. This is from the kit, and here's another photograph. And I made a smaller dress form, and I put a card, a stiff bow on it, and then I've tucked in another photograph from the 20s. This is just a print from Pinterest, and I made it a flip out, and I made the stopper out of a die cut flower, not a die cut, a punched flower. Some ledger paper that I've inked and printed on. Then I printed a receipt. This is from Tsunami Rose memorabilia, and that's a corset company receipt. So I printed that on some cooking paper, stenciled, and then on the other side I used one of the pockets from the kit. I spray painted a little coin envelope, but I've not put anything in there. And then I made this tag, and it's you know, two-sided designer paper, and with lace. I used a punch and a die cut, and then I die cut this dress form. And then this is sewing instructions that I printed, and I printed on the back. And then this is another dress form that I stuck in to make a tuck area, and I used a punch that I made out of embossed paper, that's wood. Then I sewed the back embossed paper and lace. Then I used a die cut. I used some of the netting and stuck a picture on of a lady with a fancy hat, and then that tucks in there. This is the centre of the other one, and I did the hearts again with the stenciling and stuck the envelope there. I think I've put a tag or something in there. Oh, it's a photograph this time. And then I've used the other side as a tuck spot with another tag that I made. I layered different things on it. I stapled this one, and I used the embossed paper again, and then I slipped this in. This is a page from a book that is Mills, and this is one of the first big-sized mills, and this was at the early part of the textile industry. And then this was modern when the book was made, but the book was made in 1939, so they've come a long way since even this picture, but there's a drastic difference from there. And so I thought that was interesting, and I've left the printing on it because it tells you about it. Another paper with some sewing things, another pocket that I made. I used some tissue from a pattern, a sewing pattern, and sewed that down. And then there's a form from the kit, and this is a pocket too. And I made that from that paper. This is the other side of the paper that I put another advertisement on, another pattern, another little clip, and this time I've made a button, printed the button sheet out, and then sewed some buttons on there as if it was an old-fashioned button sheet. And then here's some patterns that I copied from the 70s, early 70s, maybe very late 60s, early 70s. And then on theirs I've put, is there any wonder we designed our own outfits with patterns like these? Of course, they were very popular at the time, but we did our own, so we didn't use the patterns. Maybe we should have. And then, as I say, this is just a paper clip I've decorated, layered some papers and a butterfly, and I've I can't think of the name of it.
Hello.
Oh, I'm making a video.
What's that?
I'll talk to you in a minute. Les has just come back from shopping. That's my mum's brother. Printed paper. There's another belly band with a pretty lady in, and I used a button as the stopper. I've decorated this page with some lace, and I used seam binding underneath that I've coffee stained. Some more of that lace from Barbara print out, and some lace that I spray coloured, and a little garment pin with a little star on. And I sewed on the back of this tag some of the fibres with a zigzag stitch, and then I just tucked it in there. Another envelope from the kit, and I've put one of those needle things in. I think I'm off camera. And another sewing photograph. Needle cases, I'm trying to say. Another pattern print. They're getting younger now. This is the 50s. And then I made this pocket with a punched flower and a embossed little tag with a garment pin. And I put another pattern that I copied inside, folded, and this is from the 1950s. Now this little photograph here that I've put on the other side with the lady sewing the pants, I would say that this probably maybe 20s, 30s, I was hoping. And I've made this a flip out too, and a little die cut and a little wine glass from my cricket. And I'm not giving anything away if I tell you that Julie likes to drink wine. Now, she's not a wino, but she likes a drink now and again. So that's what that's there for. Another pattern, and I copied this and printed it, and this is Dressmaking Made Easy. and I put a more modern sewing advertisement on the back. It's for that one woman in 10, so I'm guessing that the other women don't have this fancy machine. Paper, this is the other side of that pocket, and I put some tickets in there. And that's punched. That's from the kit. This is the third signature, and this is the kit as well. Another envelope from the kit, and I just put one of these golden things on here. I think it's holding something on the other side, but I'll just turn that back, and I've stenciled here. And there's another sewing picture. Look how darling this is. It's a little girl. She's perhaps trying to sew something for her doll. And then on the other side, that makes a tuck spot, and some more sewing pattern that I sewed to this dress form. I'll put that, well, I'll just stick it on. I don't think it's actually holding anything. Maybe another decoration. Another pattern. Now we're getting into the 40s. Excuse me. The other side of that pocket, and I put another sewing related packet in there. Paper. This is a tuck spot I made, and a piece of paper from the kit, and I printed on the inside so she could use that as a journaling space. I made this tuck spot. I used a circle die cut and put one of the cotton reels on there, and I printed this out, and it's methods of measuring for patterns, and it shows you how to measure different people for what pattern size you would want. That's pretty old too, you can tell from the clothes. From the kit, doily ledger paper. This is a very small lunch bag that was white, and I coffee stained it, and I put a cricket picture of the cutout of the sewing machine, and this has got a couple of tags in. It's a sewing related one, and another sewing tag. This is like a spool, sewing spool. Here's a sewing spool. I made this little pocket. I folded that back from a corner pocket, and then you've got all these extra tuck spots on it. This pocket I made, and I've sewn this one in, and this is one where I just punched the corner, and then there's a tag, and these are from Ephemera's Vintage Garden, and again that's got that blue that I tried to mimic with some places. Here's another coin envelope, and I didn't put anything in there, and I inked that, and then there's a decorated Irene paper clip and a printed card. Here's a tag from the kit and a pocket. Now I didn't put anything in there because it's a double one, and I printed a design on the back that's appropriate for sewing. It's sewing patterns. Tea stained. Another just it's a decoration, it's not a tuck spot or anything, with a boot from the kit and a little doily. Coffee paper, just a little different size, ledger from the kit that I sewed the lace and some fibres and some of the netting. And then I tucked this in. This is a fashion plate from the early part of the century, and that should go in earlier in the book actually. I made a tuck spot from a doily that I die cut. I put some cheesecloth on and a wooden dress, and these are from the now we're in the 70s, and that's a Vogue pattern. See the square shoulders, those designs. Different papers, designer paper that then I printed on, and here's another one of the tags from the kit, but I turned this one around to show the back in. I decorated this pocket that's from the kit, put some lace and a thimble, and a stencil, designer paper, doily, coffee paper, and I just did a die cut and a die cut dress form. some sewing secrets telling you how to sew, and I made that into a little catch-all with the, this is from the other side, the paper clip, and then another, these are patterns from my stash. This is from the, I think this is from the 80s, maybe going into the 90s, when I first moved over to America, because this is American, and we can still see the huge shoulder pads. So I folded that up, and then there's another pattern that I printed off, and this is from the 60s. And she can write on the back of that, and I pinned that to the page with an Irene paper clip. It's just a piece of lace. There's the centre, and I used a spool this time. And this is from the sewing book that I printed off earlier, or it might have been from Pinterest, and it's how to make a coverall for the beach made out of towels. Look at the size of the waist. I don't think anybody has a waist like that. From the kit, another pocket that I made that I decorated, a wooden dress form and some dies and some of the netting. I know that's got another name in it. It's not coming to me. I made different areas. Put that in there. Another stenciling area and pattern. And then I made, this is from the kit. This is from the kit, but I turned that around because it's busy. And then another tag that I made. I sewed around this one, and a die cut, some lace and some scissors with a button. Another paper clip decorated with a tag from the kit, coffee stained paper, printed with the kit, and more coffee stained paper. I made this pocket again from the embossed paper, and I inked it, and then I made a layered decoration with some cotton thread, a die cut, a flower and some lace, and then a boot from the kit. That's an old pattern that I took a copy of and changed the size. And then these are this is from the 50s, but this is actually a modern pattern, quite recent, and it's a Vogue pattern, but it's aimed to be like a copy of earlier times. I love that jacket. Another pocket I made with a tag from the kit. I printed another spool and a little tag there that she can use as a decoration. And there's the other side of that little lunch bag, and I've put a little piece from the kit again, and it's printed so she can write on it, but it's sewing. Then I just decorated this with some hearts that I punched out of the different papers that I've used, and sewed them in there. And then I decorated this area, just laid some different things, some different papers. I sewed them together, put some thread on a paper spool, and put a tag on, and then it's on another little tag underneath with some lace. A tag from the kit, and I took that in there. This is another tag another pocket that I've made, and I sewed around the edge, just decorated it a bit and inked it, and then I printed. Oh, this is actually old instructions on how to use a ruffler, an attachment for a sewing machine, and this is the actual colour. This is a copy that I made of my original paper, but this is how it was. I've inked around the edge, but this was already stained that way, so I didn't have to do that. So I've made that to tuck in that pocket there. Paper, another pocket that I made and put a tag in there and put some designer paper on the back. Another pattern, copy, and this one is a flip open, and I made the little die cut as the stopper, and this is the last page of the designer paper. Then you can see the Craftex on the back, and this paper is the same as the front, but I got the dress form on that one, and then this is the pretty, it's, oh, I can't remember it. You guys will recognise it, I'm sure. Everybody uses it, it's such pretty paper. So that's it, that's the sewing journal. It's huge, I know, and chunky monkey is what you call it, don't you? And I was going to use a different kind of a closure, but then when it's so big it would have just pulled it all out of shape, because this is cereal packet that I used for the cover, and I covered it with the fabric. I had to use fabric, didn't I, if it's a sewing book, and then I just used that. So I hope you like it. I hope I've not kept you too long, and thank you to everybody that's inspired me. All the videos that you guys put out are fantastic, so thank you and have a wonderful day. Bye bye now.